Hello, my name is Kiana Williams, and this is the online classroom I made for my EdTech class. I used the website Seesaw, as you can see here. There's a little secure S after the HTTP that lets us know that this website is secure. Seesaw is also a really good website because it's very easy to use, so it makes it easy for students and families to use it alike. And it's also very clear. My classroom description is right here, Miss Williams' classroom, and I also have a picture of me here so that you can see that my face, so you know that you're in the right class. On Seesaw, you can post announcements primarily in the inbox and journal tabs. I use the journal tabs to communicate with my classroom. Here are some of the updates that have been posted so far. I shared this short video to go along with a mini lesson that I created about making inferences and inform them about some supplemental information. You can also see some of the communication I've had with my students. I created this assignment called Who Do You Think You Are? And shared it in the journal tab, and the students were able to respond to it here. The learning activities I created for my class are posted here under the Activities tab. We'll go down to the beginning so that I can share some of the assignments I created for my class. The first one is this assignment here called I Want My Teachers to Know. So this was the introduction assignment I created to get to know my class a little bit better. I wanted students to share one thing that your teachers don't know about you and something that you think would be helpful in understanding you as a student or a learner. And I made it clear that you could choose to share your answers in the form of a video response or type it as a note. I really enjoyed learning about my students in this way. One of my favorite parts about being a teacher is getting to know people, making connections, and building those relationships with students. So it was cool to be able to see some interesting things about the students in my class. Missy wrote that she wanted her teachers to know that she loves art and wants more of it. She likes to go outside and do sports. She likes math, and she does not like reading long books. So I responded that I also love art. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about with building connections. Now we have this one thing in common. And also, I hope that we can find some interesting books for her during the school year. I also got this response from Nathan that said, I want teachers to know that I can become easily distracted in class. And I pointed out I can also get distracted sometimes and we'll work on it together. I think that something that's really cool about doing assignments like that is because they make it easier to build those connections, and sometimes you feel more comfortable sharing when you're using a computer as opposed to face if your teacher's like, tell me something I don't know about you. So these assignments are really cool and interesting. For my second assignment, I did a mini lesson on the topic of themes. So I created a little PowerPoint here, and I have a screencast of me going through it, but I'm just going to share this PowerPoint with you so that you can hear me talk about it. So I talked about the main goal of the PowerPoint, which is to teach kids what a theme is. So we talked about how every story has a theme, and how the theme is the big idea of the story. Something I did to make the story a little more accessible to everyone was using these links here to the Library of Congress. So we talked a little bit about common stories and their themes like The Ugly Duckling, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, and The Three Little Pigs. But not everyone can remember the story or has access to the stories at home, or even they might not be able to get to a library themselves. So one cool resource is the Library of Congress, which has several books that are just available for people to come and see. So here's like me clicking the link to The Ugly Duckling. So I hid the answers here for what the themes would be, and in the actual PowerPoint you can move it aside and it will tell you what the themes of the stories are. So when you continue down, I have this short video about themes. It's only a few minutes long, so it's something that helps supplement the information and offers a break for some people who are more like visual learners, so that it, it will give them something to make it easy to remember the topic. And when you go down to my assignment, I asked students to choose one of their favorite stories, to share it in the comments section, and suggest a possible theme and why you think that theme is relevant to the story. So that's something that's helpful for students because it can get you involved and get you thinking about stories you've read in the past and look at it in a way that maybe you hadn't looked at it before. Maybe you just read it for your enjoyment, but now you're thinking about it in an academic sense. So it's also accessible because you don't need to go out and get a new book. You can share one that's one of your favorites. And it's cool because students are communicating about stories that they really enjoy. And students can look through it and be like, "Oh, I really like that book too," or "Oh, I've never read that book. That's something interesting I might have to check out because my friend is sharing it and telling me that it's interesting." This assignment helped me learn how to do screencasts because it's not something that I'd ever experienced before, and it's something I was very apprehensive of actually doing, but being able to do this assignment showed me that it's not actually that difficult, and it's something that I could incorporate into my life as a teacher. For my second mini lesson, I kind of built on that and talked about inferences. So I have this screencast I did about inferences. Um, Here's the actual PowerPoint I did, so that you can I can walk you through it and talk to you about the assignment. So, like I said, it was about inferences. So first I pointed out inferencing information is an important part of understanding every story, and talked a little bit how you find clues and add those clues to what you already know, and that you can remember that there can be more than one answer. And then we talked about how making those inferences is something that we already do every day. And that was something I wanted to emphasize because sometimes kids struggle with inferencing things from stories, but it's actually something they already have a lot of practice for. So when they can think of themselves as the detective that way, it can make it a little easier for them. I have this little video that we did that I shared about inferencing information, and then we move on to the assignment. I found this really cool resource that is called What's Happening in This Picture that's provided by the New York Times. So it was cool to be able to make my students aware of this resource and get them looking on cool informative websites like the New York Times. So the assignment was to just pick a picture from the archive that they have here, look at it. They don't have captions, and then go through these questions here to help them infer what they think is going on in the picture. So, what's going on in this picture? What do you see that makes you say that? And what more can you find to build on what you've already inferred? So, I also gave them some clues like look at the facial expressions, the setting, what people are wearing, and I provided some additional links and activities on the Seesaw class page that could help them supplement that information if they feel like they need a little bit more help before they get into the assignment. So, yeah, I created an opportunity for students to branch out to the world around them and learn more, maybe doing something that they already do and to by looking at a picture that doesn't have a caption and thinking about it. So it gets them thinking more critically about inferring in the real world. Something I learned by doing this assignment is just making sure that I'm being very clear with the way I talk and being very direct. These mini lessons were a short assignment, so it showed me that you can convey a lot of information in a short time, but it all depends on how you convey the information. You want to make sure that you're very clear. Otherwise, there's no point to the brevity. So inside of Seesaw, you can look over the responses you've received to the assignments and activities you've posted while you're in the Activities tab. So for instance, here I see I want my teachers to know. I can click down here and see that 2 of the students in my class have responded and 1 has not. So I can look down and see the 2 responses from Melissa and Nathan. I can click on it and then I'm able to give my response down here. So this assignment was just to share some information about yourself, and I can say down here, what kind of art is your favorite, talk to them a little bit more, and provide some feedback. So that's how you do the grading inside of Seesaw. So now we're just going to go back to my home page of my classroom, which is basically just the journal page. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about my experiences in the class in general. This process of making this class really helped me grow so much. I was very nervous when we first began this process because I felt kind of confused and overwhelmed, but kind of going through it all step by step, and also having the experience to work as both a teacher and up here you can switch to your student tabs where we worked in some classmates' classrooms. That was very helpful with making me understand that it's actually not that complicated. It also helped me realize the importance of sharing some supplemental information. You can create your lesson, but then you can also build upon it by using all sorts of cool resources on the internet. So just in general, I'm really grateful that I was able to take this class and have this specific experience. And now I know that when I'm ready to become a real teacher in a real elementary classroom, I'll be able to use Seesaw effectively. Thank you.